Hi, I'm Steve. I spent about 15 years working for the U.S. House of Representatives, starting as a legislative correspondent, handling the mail program, then as policy director, and then all the way to chief of staff for a couple of different members of Congress, including committee chairman. I want to talk to you about a couple of helpful tips and tricks that I learned over the years on maximizing the impact of the communication that you have with your constituents. So the first tip I want to talk about is using constituent correspondence to drive your legislative action. You know your district better than anyone else. You spend time there. In most cases, you grew up there. You can also use constituent interaction with your office through your mail system to understand what people in your district care most about and use that to drive where you're putting your policy resources. So you may know that 500 people have written into you this month about clean water, or maybe 3,000 people have written into you about gun control. Use that to decide where you're going to put limited policy resources from your policy team. Additionally, you can use this data to justify and amplify the legislative actions that you're taking. So when you introduce a bill, go out and tell everybody that 2,750 people have written into you advocating for this policy position over the course of the last month, and now you've introduced this legislation to take action on their behalf. The next thing I want to talk about is never miss an opportunity to let your constituents know that you're fighting for them. So whenever you take an action, whether that's sponsoring a bill, co-sponsoring a bill, signing on to a letter, speaking at an event for an organization that's advocating for an issue, pull a universe of your constituents that have written into you about those issues in the past and send them a notice to let them know that you're out there fighting for them. So it's impactful when someone writes into your office asking you to take a certain position and they get a response back from you saying, I will. It's far more impactful when they then get a follow-up from you 4 months later saying, I know you care deeply about this issue, and I wanted to make sure that you saw this action I took on your behalf on that issue. And the last thing I want to talk about is using personal stories to humanize the legislative work that you're doing. So nothing is more impactful than having an individual or a group of individuals in your district that you can point to as the reason that you're fighting for a certain piece of legislation. While I was working for Congress, I fought to increase access to pediatric cancer, in large part because we had a group of children in our district who were fighting rare forms of leukemia that were drastically underfunded. We fought for veterans who had fallen through the cracks at the VA and the DoD. And those caused reforms in multiple agencies that affected thousands of people around the country. If your casework team has the proper tools to be able to track and manage all of that, they also have the proper tools to identify opportunities where you can actually take further action beyond just resolving their case and potentially partner with those individuals to help amplify their voice using your position in the Congress. I hope these were helpful. If I can ever be of assistance with you in helping you maximize your constituent communications, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.